for a day.
Never had that issue.
My drivers on my video card have got to be over a year old at least. Actually, I don't think I've updated them since I bought this computer.
You should.
Yeah, I do.
Welcome to the iRacers Lounge. I am your host, Mike Ellis. iRacers Lounge is a podcast for the iRacer where we talk all things iRacing in a casual setting. Joining me are the usual characters, Greg Hectus.
April Fools.
Yeah, it was this week. Brad Wren.
So 2 Martinsville NISs and 12 hours of Sebring. Can you guess which one took longer?
Ouch. And David Hall.
I have probably the Martinsville.
On today's show, we find out how your Sebring 12-hour went. Who had the best sim racing April Fool's releases? Could you use a mechanic to dial in your setup? Check out another wheel from Moza. Spend David's money and 10 years of SimiCube.
That's right. Remember that you can follow along with us on your PC or your mobile device in real time as you listen to the show and see for yourself all the great topics and products we'll discuss by visiting iRacersLounge.com. Select the show notes. We hope to see you there.
All right, so I think we had a Sebring 12 hours this week. For some of us, it might have been more like 6 hours. The iRacing Sebring 12 hour, powered by VCO Esports. It's in the books. And the broadcast split winners in GTP, the number 5 Verstappen Sim Racing Cadillac, and LMP2, the 18 Bleu Mercure Esports Delara, and in the GTD, the 005 grid2go.com Esports BMW.
So, the first thing I noticed on this is obviously, like the Verstappen sim racing, I don't ever remember them driving a Cadillac before. You know, is it, do you think they test each of them and decide which one they're quickest in every single time?
At that level, yes, it can make a difference for them.
They don't have an allegiance to a particular car right now, right? Or a manufacturer.
Obviously not.
Well, they use the Merc when they're in GT 3, don't they, though?
They are this
Max's-
time. They were Ferrari last year and Aston, depending on which
Okay,
series.
so they are just doing whatever is probably the quickest.
So in the races in Germany, he was in Mercedes, but in Formula One, he drives a Ford. So I presume he doesn't have any ties.
I don't know. I was hoping we'd get what the actual breakdown numbers were for last weekend. I went back and looked again today. I didn't see them, so maybe if they pop up, we'll bring them up next week. But typically, Sebring is outside of Daytona, I think is the second most. Has the most drivers. I think the split we did was, gosh, it was 3,000 and some teams and like well over 5,000 drivers.
I didn't see any noise in the forums about problems or issues this time. Everything seemed to be smooth. Just more calls for we need race control.
Yeah, the BOP was a
Definitely.
lot better, especially on the GTD side. The BOP was a lot better this time, so it wasn't really a clear winner, like we had at Daytona with essentially the Porsche Cup.
I'll tell you one thing, it was really crazy how drastically different the weather was between the sprint series and then the 12 hour. Because, everybody's using the sprint series to kind of sort of get ready. The sprint series track temperature was around 80 Fahrenheit, whereas at the 12 hour, it was closer to 120. And a few times it was raining in the sprint series as well.
Does The Sprint series wouldn't have had the balance of power fix too, right?
No.
Okay, so that's why it was a 3 second difference on like some of the videos I was watching.
Yeah,
Well, it was also 40 degrees colder.
yeah. So yeah, it's kind of frustrating. I mean, so many people use that as a prep, and then to get the weather, especially. I mean, I don't know. One thing, temperature wise, that whatever, but to have a week of possible rain and there's no rain in the 12 hours was a bit frustrating. I only ran one sprint race, and it was dry, but yeah, just when you try to use that as prep, that's a little frustrating.
Should or can iRacing even make a change to adjust the weather on the weeks of special events so they match up?
Well, everything is predetermined anyway. I mean, there's a schedule that's put out. So during the week 13, they're already prepping the schedule for the next season. We already know what the weather's going to be like for week 10 of season 2. So absolutely they could. I just don't understand I just don't understand the mind, the thought process to go, hey, let's give this, what it could be, and let's just make it rain all week at Sebring for the regular sprints. That makes perfect sense to me.
Especially the week of the big event.
And even when it wasn't raining, it was still a little wet on the dry races. You probably might not have noticed it, but it was still, even though it said 0%, there were some places where you could still see a little bit of moisture. I know one time I was out on a Q lap and I hit some water in Le Mans. And had to be prepared for it on my second lap around. The conditions don't have to be exact, but even the 40-degree temperature swing was just drastic because a lot of people were just probably not prepared for how slick and easier it was to spin the car out or just overdrive it.
I mean, our split, I think we saw temps close to 130. I mean, it was stupid hot.
Yeah, I almost lost it probably 3 or 4 times just in the first. Actually, it was more of the second stint where I really started to notice the track temperature more than the second one. And there were several times, especially, is it Ginger Beer or it's before Tower? It's the little short left hander before Tower I'm always most likely to
Cunningham.
Cunningham, yeah. Well, speaking of drastic temperature changes, something that changes a lot in a track is the season, right? Unless you're in the tropics or something. We notice this particularly when we go to Sonoma. Is the in-game version of Sonoma green or brown?
Brown.
Okay, so but a lot of times when they run Sonoma, it's not necessarily so brown, right?
It has grass, but it's not the actual like nice looking grassy wine country, right? I didn't looking at the pictures here. I didn't realize Suzuka had the big change, and I guess it's just from Formula One. I've never paid attention, but it would be interesting to see the Nürburgring with their autumn and the trees and stuff like that.
I like the
Yeah.
idea of season changes, but how does that tie in with the whole, what time of year it is versus and the weather model that goes with it?
Well, and I guess David Tucker posted in the comments here that they'd have to capture. Well, he's exaggerating by say 4 times a year to have all the different things, but I'm thinking the one guy only wanted like 2 different seasons, basically captured 2 different types of tracks.
In most places, the most it would be is either 2 or 3 because most tracks don't run in the winter.
This wouldn't be a rescan, as somebody notated in the forum post necessarily. You'd think that the art team could just use photographs. Okay, this is what the track looks like in October, and then use that to recreate the track in the fall.
But would they have to go back and get the photographs so they could use the proper stuff for it, or are they guessing?
Depends on how accurate you want to be.
I was gonna say probably need to go get pictures because otherwise someone will be on the forum whining and complaining. That's not the right tree
Yeah, I
color.
said pictures. Yeah, I think you need pictures.
A magnolia tree actually looks like this in February. Moving on, NIS Martinsville, or iPacing, I think was what we already named last week's episode. We had Don Cartwright make a forum post and then pointed out that Top Split had 4 DQs on instance, Bottom had 5 DQs on instance, and then he links a song, and I don't know if this is an AI generated song or a real song. I listened to part of it and just it didn't hold my interest.
He also pointed out Top Split had 25 cautions versus 23 for the lower one.
Yeah, I mean, look, like I said last week, I think I tried to change my mindset going into this week, knowing what we're going to have. You know, the expectation is there's going to be 25 plus cautions. I think I had 29 in Wednesday, 25 in Friday. So it got better as the week went on, maybe. Is that one way to look at it? I mean, it is what it is. You know, I think you just got to understand going in, this is what we're going to have. It's like Richmond, same scenario. You know, I love Richmond. It's my home track. I feel very competitive there, but I know going in that it's going to be a crap show as it is most of the times.
In the opinion of the next article poster, he doesn't really see things as going to the moon right now, kind of like Artemis is, does he, Mike?
Well, talking about the super speedway packages, Sean Butler posted up on Twitter, hey, didn't think they could possibly screw up the best combo on the service, but iRacing somehow managed to pull it off. Blake McCandless, his reply was, tough for this combo because I actually think the dynamic truck model is the best it's ever been. The grip strip of the old Daytona just seems to have gone a bit too far. John went on to comment further saying, the high line has way too much grip to the point where nobody wants to move out of line to make a move. The low line never rubbers in and never becomes a viable line. And Legacy Daytona, at least in the 87s, is a top dominant track where you just can't pass. And
That's
then
probably because of
we,
I'll say it's probably because of all the bumps at the bottom. I mean, do you remember we used a legacy? Isn't that the one that we ran when we did the Gen 4s that was miserable?
The Gen 4 draft model is really broken. I don't know about the 87s, but when we ran at Daytona, you couldn't keep more than 2 cars in the draft pack. Everybody just kept losing the draft, and we got separated into a bunch of 2-car pairs that were not keeping up with each other, and it ended up being boring to tears, and then we lost half our membership after that race.
now one more quote was Moonhead said, shit like this is why Mooncar doesn't happen 4 nights a week anymore. The game is truly in a dark age. I've struggled to find anything that's actually fun to run. Ouch. So lots of negative comments here. I almost feel like, once drivers learn a certain thing and it works a certain way, it's hard. You can't untrain them. It was kind of like when we learned how to bump draft in NASCAR,
Fuel
and then they
saving?
didn't want them to bump draft, but you can't unlearn that.
Can't unlearn fuel saving like they have in NASCAR?
Right. And now with the iRacing, at least it's the top lane. Oh, let's get to the top and run. And I've been a proponent of this in recent years: to stay high, the low. Everyone always thinks the low is better, but you can pinch. You can pinch a little. You can side draft, and so you have options on the top.
Well, I would disagree saying that the game's at a dark age. I mean, are there issues? Yes, but if all you're going to run is restrictor plates or stuff like that, then yeah, your options are limited. Yes, they continue to make changes with the draft model and stuff like that, but there's a lot more to do in the game as opposed to flat-footed around Talladega.
Look, I used to be what you would call a tallywhacker, where I would go and run hosted Talladega races all the time. And that's what a lot of people do on iRacing. That's all they do. And they become specialist at it. But back when I was doing it, it was pack racing. It was a lot different than it is today. And so there has been some changes. But look, for me, it's all about replicating what we have on the track and doing it. Look, if NASCAR's lined up in a line, then we should be lined up in a line.
Something really smells about that.
Well, why don't you tell us what else smells, Greg?
Oh, we're going to an oldie but a goodie. This is for, I guess we're gonna title this needs to ask the ladies. So you can go on what is it, Bath and Body. Um, they're candle scents, and we got lots of different. There's a bunch of different options with this. I know we've covered it. I don't know. This is probably the second or third time we've talked about this, but we're showing on ours here the two-stroke engine candle. It comes in a tin.
Yeah, they have different scents you can pick once you click on that page. Benol scent, Blendzol, 927 scent, and the new Castrol R scent.
This is what you have burning in the dining room, Mike.
I actually bought a couple cheap candles from Walmart, but this might be a better idea.
Oh, Mike's iRacing again. He's got the candles out.
I'm into my sim room, honey.
Is
Title
that
idea: Romantic Simulator.
Oh,
is that burning rubber I smell?
Look, if you're gonna do the
are you
candles,
just happy to see me?
you got to do the fog machine too. You know, like the burnout at the end, and you blow the smoke. And
I guess with gas prices right now, if you get the one that smells like gas, it smells expensive.
All right, Brad, tell us about SimCube history.
Yeah, so SimCube put out a video this week celebrating 10 years. This is pretty cool. Had a chance to watch this, and it's kind of somewhat of a trip down memory lane. A lot of the people that are in here have been on the service a long time, and just kind of rolling back through how it started, Granite devices, what they were doing. They were creating, um, they were doing boards for like CNC
motor
machines.
controllers.
Yeah, motor controllers and stuff, and then a lot of talk with Bino, who's still active on the forums. Back to the Leo Bodner days, and to all of the beginning of the direct drive. I was telling Greg before we started. I mean, it's amazing the evolution. From cheap rubber band wheels to gear driven to belt driven, and now we're at direct drive. I don't know. I don't know where we go past direct drive if we ever do, but yeah, it's pretty neat. I mean, to see a company that really had no, did not set out to be a sim racing hardware manufacturer, but that's the direction they turned, and they become the staple when it comes to direct drives. That's the benchmark, in the community.
This is a great video. Look, we knew this story through the forums in the past. We've talked about it on this show. But Taro Cannon, I hope I said that right. Taro, he's the founder, and he's the guy who was doing the motor controllers in the beginning and this and that. And then Philip, what his name is Bino, but his real name is Philip Van Rensburg, I think his name is. But Philip Van Rensburg was involved in designing that first direct drive, and he actually came to Taro and his motor controller company and brought a wheel and said, hey, how can we make this work? And then the people and Taro and his team realized, oh, well, we can build these and sell them and make some money. And they basically kind of converted their company over to sim racing, basically, because there was such a demand. They built the first units for the SimiCube 1, and it's kind of cool because it shows them lined up on the counter and everything, like some old school shots. So it's kind of like sim racing history. It's pretty neat.
Yeah, SimiCube had sent out an email beginning of the week, and it basically has a written article that goes along with this. That was lots of pictures and stuff like that. It's neat. Like I said, for those that have been on the service a long time, like Mike says, if think back to the old forums, I mean, this was just starting. It was. I mean, you saw this, and if you were there for the infancy of this. When it began.
There was a period of time on this show where I was quoting everything Bino put in the forums. Like if he If he wrote something, we were talking about it on the show because people would go to him with ideas on equipment or questions on sim racing equipment, what to do, how to fix it. I got a problem. And he was brilliant. And then he would put up pictures of his rig, of his setup, of what he's come up with. And he was CNC, machining all this stuff. And I remember all kinds of neat stuff about Bino, Philip Van Rensburg. But yeah, he's really, I think, I would call him the godfather of direct drive.
All right, next we got a little video, or is it just a picture showing a guy pitting outside the box, and he said that it actually changed his tires and everything. He's not even really on pit road.
Yeah, it's a Facebook reel. I couldn't get it to post here, but if you click on it, you can watch it. Is truck pitting at, I think, Talladega. Yeah, so you see him come in and pit, and he pulls away, and the crew's still out there changing the tires, and you see the tires being thrown back and forth as he's driving off a pit road back onto the truck. So a bug of some sort.
Wow, that's a fast stop. So as soon as they go around to the right side of the truck, he took off before they even knelt down to change the tire, but he still got his tires changed. That is pretty cool.
All right, next up we have a whole series of April 1st posts from the different companies, and it didn't get put on here. Where's the announcement that Mike is starting an F1 podcast?
Oh, we did those late yesterday, so they didn't make the script. But yeah, we put up a couple of April Fool jokes late yesterday on social.
They were jokes?
Yeah,
Aww.
we're not going to a set of Corsa, guys. We're not going to do it.
I don't know. Some of the listeners were pretty nervous in Discord that you had left to start your green energy racing podcast.
No,
So
there's
first,
lots of April 1st jokes. The first one was iRacing put up just a video of cars wrecking in humongous wrecks. Imagine Monza, turn one oval where the track clogs up and 40 cars pile in. I mean, that kind of stuff. Or at, Sebring Sunset, again, the track clogs up and everyone piles in. This massive wrecks. And then the fun part of it is the track workers just standing there like nothing happens.
yeah, the title of the video was iRacing, the sim with no crashes. And they'd also thrown up one, I didn't put it on here, but it was the MX-5s at various tracks and going by squealing like, meow, meow, and all kinds of making, just squealing sounds as they went by. So got another one on here from Zen Sim Wheels, the LMZ Choco. So you can race it, smell it, and you can eat it. So this was the brand new LMZ Choco exclusive product for upcoming Easter. So you got the.
Is it like hollow, like an Easter bunny when you bite into it?
Expensive as this is, it better be solid chocolate.
Mike, you always have chocolate at your rig.
Yep.
What would happen if you started eating your wheel during the race?
Wouldn't make it through the long one, that's for sure. Then you have the Simatech cockpits put up a Simatech hover sim with Michael J. Fox doing his Back to the Future character. And instead of a hoverboard, he's in a Simatech cockpit that's literally hovering above the floor. Pretty cool.
Everybody save this image for 50 years from now.
I think this was already supposed to have happened.
Oh yeah, that's right.
And then we had a post here from Moza. So Moza Racing introduces the Moza Espresso Machine with force feedback, even richer flavor. So, yeah.
Is this what's in Mike's box coming from Moza?
I thought they were just going to post a picture of his empty box coming to him.
Yeah, so I do have a box coming for my Moza M Booster throttle pedal. I hope there's a power supply in it, but they haven't really told me. Wonder if it's an empty box and they just want me to send the power supply back.
It's styrofoam
But I've been
peanuts.
waiting almost a month now for it.
Greg, what was the joke I made about the coffee maker?
Oh, it continuously keeps brewing coffee.
That's right. Continually brewing, regardless of what you're doing. It's like Mike's pedal; it's always moving.
It
And then
probably
it
just
was
has too
Track
much
Racer.
caffeine. Now,
Track Racer had the classic toilet seat, David. You want the one with the lid or without?
well, I mean, even
if
dudes need a lid when we're sitting. I mean, the seat part at least when we're sitting
I was
down,
gonna
right?
say, if there's women around, you need the one with the lid.
Oh no, if you read it, it's they have a TRT seat bidet add-on for that one.
Jeez, they'll make anything an extra add-on, won't they?
Gotta make that money.
Yeah, so got a bunch of new rigs from Track Racer, the TR Honk. So this one comes with looks like train horns.
Nice
Uh,
horns.
nice horns. And
You
got the
give
TR
me crap for my wind simulator. Come on, with the horn simulator.
I like the TR Taxi. So this is the two-seater cockpit. So
Hey, you and your wife, Brad, you sit down and
come on, baby, we're going for a ride tonight.
Honey, are you doing anything tonight? Let's go sim racing.
Your sim side by siding.
If I can get in a
Oh,
rally, if I
that
get
means
in a rally,
does that mean iRacing's gonna scan those side by sides?
Greg said he got confused. He said he woke up and saw the Asher post and he thought this was a real thing.
I just thought it was real because I was not paying attention in the morning, but also I'm so used to seeing like guys use like plungers or anything to try and test out it. I thought the cardboard thing was real until I realized what day it was.
yeah, the Asher Racing Cardboard Ultimate, and it looks just like an Asher Racing wheel, like every little button layout and everything, but it's cardboard.
Yes, engineered with ultra light cardboard material.
I expect to see this at the Sim Gaming Expo.
But here's the question, because we always want to make sure we're taking care of the environment. Is it recycled cardboard?
Oh, then it's gonna stink.
I don't see anything in. Oh, it says it's 100% biodegradable, so we don't know if it's made for post-consumer waste or not, but it is biodegradable.
Oh, great. So when I'm crying on my wheel, it's gonna disintegrate.
I don't even know what the last one is here, Brad.
We had VRS. So VRS released the Nitro Boost. So it says for the past 18 months, a small team of engineers at VRS has been operating in a restricted area of our lab. So this is Project Boris. So they said if you ever wanted to capture the raw, aggressive surge of a real GT3 car or a tuned drift machine where the driver hit the go button. So this is the Nitro Boost system. You'll arm it. So think about like, cars with a nitro injected engine. You can arm it, then you hit your boost. So Greg, like you, I saw this and I was like, well, this is interesting. And
Isn't this F1 right now?
well, I saw this Wednesday morning and I'm like, I said, that's an interesting product. And I'm thinking, I'm like, oh, wait a second.
Can Max use this, or
I was gonna say Max would be pissed if this came to sim racing. He might quit sim racing and retire.
So hopefully nobody got too fooled by any of these.
So I looked at the next one and I was thinking, are we still talking about the April Fools or not?
No, it's on sale. It's on sale.
What's on sale?
iRacing Arcade. I got the notification today about that. It came up that it was on 20% off on Steam. So if anybody is looking to get it, 20% less is a lot better than 100% or 0%.
I know we're everybody that probably listens is probably an iRacer. I just don't see why an iRacer would get this unless you're just wanting to get away from all the knuckleheads at Martinsville. I could see that.
There were some people having fun in the first. I think the thing that you get through it so fast, it's lost its appeal right away. From what I've seen, there's some guys were liking it. It doesn't have added content yet.
So it has some kind of ladder that you climb through.
Yeah, well, you only have a certain amount of cars, and once you get through it all, it's not as. From what I saw, I still have yet to do. I just don't want to pay full price for this, and I still don't even want to pay for it at 20% off. But from what I saw, some of the guys, it's like it's not even close to the counterpart of the creators that made the Superstar one that they're piggybacking it off of.
I think you just point out one of the biggest highlights of what iRacing provides. It is endless content to a degree, but hear me out. Like, remember I was doing that series challenge that Robbie Swan was doing, where he won in every car and every series and every track and all this stuff. Look, go try it yourself. There is so much stuff out there. You will run out of time before you complete all of that. I promise you. Like, you should never be bored in iRacing. If somebody tells me they're bored, dude, go run dirt, go do something else, go run rally, go run up Mount Washington, go do the Ringmeister for a season, see what happens.
Next, we have a forum post from Scott Wise, and he mentions that we should have an option for optional repairs where a driver can decide what is the priority to fix, because he feels like sometimes the aero damage is causing him more loss of time than the wheel being not straight. There's a few comments replying to this. However, Christian Challenger does chime in and mention that the order is fluid leaks, then engine, then wheel, then body part panels. So my thought is, I guess critical body work and then miscellaneous body work. My thought is, if your wheel is off, you may have a couple of laps of decent speed, but it's going to destroy the tire. It's going to wear so unevenly. You're going to lose more in the long run.
Yeah, I mean, I guess it's good to know what kind of, while you're sitting there for the 6 or 7 minutes, what they're working on. But I don't know. I mean, there was a point where you couldn't get all the damage fixed. Now you can get all the damage fixed. And I'm not so certain that I'm happy that, you can get a car that's completely destroyed. Basically, if you sit there long enough, you can get it completely back to a brand new car. To me, that's my issue with that. I think if you do enough damage, you can get it fixed to where you can get back out there, but you shouldn't be at the same pace that you were at before.
And unless you get the meatball where the engine has damage, at least in the oval cars, it's going to get fixed. And I have never seen a too much damage were done in the prototypes. I've seen an hour worth of repair, but not too much damage were done.
I don't get it. Is the ask to make this selectable somehow by the driver while they're sitting there?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. He wants to be able to tell it to stop fixing the wheel damage and fix the aero.
I don't think we need to go to that degree. Just you have a crew chief. Let the crew chief handle that.
And especially considering there's more important things to fix, like race control. All right, Brad, go ahead and tell us about the Skip Barber iRacing extended partnership.
Yep, had an Instagram post here from Skip Barber and iRacing. So as the show goes on, we're thrilled to announce an extension to our partnership. With iRacing, Skip Barber was one of iRacing's original partners. An industry-defining racing simulator is among our longest-standing and closest partners. So here's some more virtual racing, training, and winning. So yeah, glad to see this. I mean, every year they usually do the Skip Barber Challenge, where they'll have, that where you can compete, get an opportunity. They've done scholarships, they've done different stuff. So yeah, I mean, it's cool. I mean, look, the rookie road car for how many years was the Skip Barber car. So yeah, glad to see the continuation of that partnership.
Tickets are now available. Sim Gaming Expo 2026, September 18th through 20th. We've got our table reserved, and we've got at least 7 people going this year. We might have up to 9. We'll be doing a show up there. It will be roughly 550 something or 540 something, but it doesn't line up with the stars like 500 did, so I'm not too worried about hitting 550. And we have a few guest announcements, Brad.
Yep, for the Sim Gaming Expo, GSI. So one of the first big hardware exhibitors has been announced. So glad to see
Yay.
GSI back. Yep, that was good to see them last year and talk with them. So yeah, Mike and I were texting back this afternoon. Him and I both booked flights, hotels, and everything. So it's on, guys. This is the opportunity
Yep.
again.
I'm committed. I got a flight. It wasn't cheap.
Wasn't that bad? Yours
Yeah.
was the same as mine was.
Yeah, we'll be there. It'll be fun. I'm gonna, yeah, looking forward to this for sure. I hope it's bigger. I hope we have a few more of the big hardware names there that were kind of missing last year. So dig deep, George. Dig deep.
Yep, and I'm sure we'll have George on the show here before too long. Let him get a little bit further down the road. We'll get some updates. So, but just around the corner, and actually less than 2 months, we're gonna have the Sim Racing Expo in Charlotte. We did get a couple more announcements this week. So, Driven Dynamics will be there. Driven Dynamics, for those that don't know, is the motion platform creators. They do the gigantic, the $130,000 motion
Spider leg
rigs,
thing.
yeah, the big ones and stuff like that. And then we have a couple guests: Ian Porter, Crim Six, racer, real turned a well, I guess what Call of Duty world champion turned sim racer. Now actually, real racer will be there, and along with Raja Karuth. So Raja will supposedly be kicking off the expo. He'll be there on Friday at 10:30. So looks like Q&A with him and with Ian Porter as well. So pretty cool. It's gonna be neat to see some of these guys there. Like I said, I'll be there. I think William Westbrook's still planning to go. So hopefully we can catch up with some listeners. Looking forward to that too.
Look, Raja Karuth, man, he is on iRacing streaming. Every time I get on TikTok late afternoon, he's live. I mean, he's on more than I am. I mean, this boy is iRacing.
I think he's our best example of sim to real, maybe even more than Byron.
Oh yeah, 100%. Because he didn't come from a family of money, that could and sponsorship and that, so he earned it, he he came in on iRacing as far as learning how to race, and then he just took it to the next level. Well done.
Oh, we've got one event coming up, the 2026 IMSA Classic. We talked about how that's been
Wait, you
moved to
missed one.
Laguna Seca. Did I? I did. Yeah, we've got the Rockingham 508 as well coming up. That's the 5th annual, benefiting TDJF. It's on May 13th, 500 laps at Rockingham, and I'm guessing it's in the 87s.
Yeah, this is
Yeah.
the Dale Jr. Foundation is who this is benefiting. So teammate Justin Pearson ran this last year, and he's already told me he's signed up again. So tough 500 laps at Rockingham. Oh my gosh, in the 87s too. Ooh.
Look, Justin's our best shoe to get into that car and get out there and whoop these guys. Go get them, Justin.
Then the event I wanted to talk about, I don't know why, because probably not going to run it, but the IMSA Classic 500. It is running at Laguna Seca, which is actually called WeatherTech Raceway. It's a partnership with a historic themed Monterey weekend, and this year they're doing 500 kilometers. This is America, but we're running kilometers this time. So it's featuring the Nissan GTP ZXT and the Audi 90 GTO. And if you really want the full experience, run your H pattern, or you can just show up and drive. On this one, we're running the 5 time slots because it's going to be it's not more than a 6-hour event. It's actually set by distance anyway. And those are 22, 7, 12, 16, and 0 on the GMT slots. You can run this one as solo if you'd want, or team.
So you mentioned H pattern. on the GTO 90 Audi Quattro. This car, look, guys, if you want to really have a real experience, you turn off the blip and you leave the clutch on manual and you don't have the assisted clutch at all, because this car is probably the hardest car on iRacing to shift, in my opinion. And I literally can't drive it without auto blip on.
You mean you drive it like you're normally supposed to drive it without auto blip?
I've tried. I can't. It's super hard. I mean, if you guys want a challenge, try that.
So back in the old days, before Fast Track and all that, I had to spend a whole season running the MX5s, and all of that was when we had an H pattern still, and it was 5 speed, and they told you turn auto blip off, not just because it's more realistic, but you actually shift faster. You get a better response with auto blip off, and it was noticeable back then. Now, I would love to switch my Fanatec back over to H pattern, but it doesn't work that way, and I'm not taking it apart again. What else we got? I just accidentally closed the notes.
So this week in iRacing, got the week 2 of 10 at the iRacing Nürburgring Endurance Championship will take place. So this has the 4 time slots. Saturday, 7 GMT and 1700 GMT. Sunday, 0 GMT and 13 GMT. We've also got so we got Draft Master this week has got the NASCAR O'Reilly Series cars at Talladega. And the picture is the next gen cars. So that's a bit confusing. Don't look at the pictures, just read the words, guys.
Is that like when SimiCube announced a sale on the SimiCube 2
It
Sport
wa-
and showed the 3?
no, it wasn't. It was Track Racer. So
Oh, okay.
I got a little irritated with myself. I put that picture in there and it didn't pick up any of my text. So yes, I get an email today from Track Racer going SimiCube 2 Sports on sale. And I'm like, that's a SimiCube 3 picture. That's really confusing. So I feel bad for people that ordered it. And when they get it home and they open it up, they're going to be like, this is not what I bought.
Got to do better, folks. Podcast housekeeping. Leave us a review on your favorite podcast platform to make it easier for more listeners to find the podcast. Please mention the podcast to your fellow drivers so they don't miss out. We would appreciate it. Check out our Discord and get involved in the discussion. There's a link in the show notes. And of course, our show notes are at iRacersLounge.com. We're in regular rotation at Performance Motorsports Network. And get your merchandise, get your hat and t-shirt before the Sim Gaming Expo at iRacersLounge.shop.
All right, this is a familiar name at the top of the fantasy charts, even though there's a tie. I think, but they're both familiar names.
Yep. So the iRacers Lounge podcast, Fantasy League, rolled into Martinsville Speedway this past week. Tied for first place, we had Cletus, 45, and Resdog, both at 279 points. And we had a tie for third as well. We got Vol 1977 and Dollar Cents, both tied for 275 points. And then fifth was Fat Man Little Coat. So Cup Series of Martinsville, spring race was typically a spring race. Not a whole lot of drama. Did not get a good response on the Jeff Gluck poll. Not surprised. I mean, it was a typical spring Martinsville race. Denny Hamlin dominated, didn't win the race. That's always a plus in my eyes. I just wish it would be so nice if we could actually, we could short pit and we could do stuff like that in the iRacing version of this, but I don't think that's ever going to happen.
How is the car different this spring race versus last fall? We have more horsepower, right?
You've got more horsepower. You've got less aero.
Colder weather.
Yeah, the weather's colder. Yeah, but I mean, again, it's just I don't know. It was it was one of the podcasts I was listening to today. It's I know there's a pattern that's starting to form. It's concrete tracks or tracks with concrete corners with this car. it just doesn't run well. I mean, think about it: Dover, Bristol, Martinsville. Bristol's been a disaster unless the tires literally just fall apart. But we're gonna go there. We'll go there in 2 weeks, and if it's 2 degrees warmer than what it was the last time we were there, the tires will be perfectly fine. Um, so, I don't know. I mean, I think the biggest thing coming out of this was Bubba Wallace losing his mind and wrecking half the field because he had to do a temper tantrum the way he normally does. But
Oh, come on. He just misjudged the corner. That wasn't on purpose.
Oh, come on. It just reminds me of how much I dislike this guy, just because the way he handles himself during racing. But if you say anything like against him on socials, you're a racist.
like I said, he's got talent. He's won. I'm not denying that. Again, it's just that's the when somebody sees red and just completely goes freaking crazy. It's like when Kyle Busch would do the stupid stuff. When he wrecked Ron Hornaday under caution, or he would get wrecked and he parked his car, I think, in the middle of pit road one time, and he got out and left. I mean, it's the stupid stuff that people do. I mean, look, Carson took you 3 wide. It's Martinsville. If there's an open, that's what Martinsville's like in real life on a restart. If there's a hole, someone's going to go for it. But whatever. Chase Elliott
Look,
got.
sorry, Brad. I was going to say that reminds me of like I'm at Martinsville in an NIS race, and Garrett Maines does the same thing to me. Garrett Maines gets down on the inside of me and just makes an inside lane, pushing me up. Look, in the next corner, I'm not going to go down and destroy Garrett Maines.
No, but again, he went from, he dropped to what, 11th in points, dropped 8 positions, went from 3rd to 11th. Again, choices, decisions have consequences. Play stupid
Well,
games, stupid prizes.
I hope Denny or Michael, tells him, "Hey, you're a dumbass."
Yeah. So Chase Elliott got the win with a short pit call, and it played out. I think Hamlin had some wheel damage. I think, or he had a loose wheel, is what he said over that last run. So it is what it is. So they're off for Easter this weekend. So we'll have an off week on the fantasy league. The O'Reilly series and the trucks will be at Rockingham. But so as we head out into the 1 week break, we've got Race Attic in the lead with 1,570 points. Second is Kalen, third, Dollar Cents, fourth, Cletus, 45. And tied for fifth, we've got TG1 Racing and Connor Truman. So,
Can we have a bet on Cletus McFarland and how many laps he'll make?
he'll probably be in the wall before it's over. I hope he does okay. All he needs to do is go out there and just stay out of the way and run laps. That's all he needs to do. But I don't know if that'll happen or not.
Last question. I started hearing about the All-Star race this year. Oh my God, this sounds like a nightmare scenario.
Yeah, they announced that, I don't know, a month or so ago. Yeah, it's basically
NASCAR doesn't screw up all-star formats.
Yeah,
Oh
I mean,
my.
by the time we're done, it's like a 400 lap race, I think, and it's it's stupid. It's it's stupid.
Our hardware software section is essentially brought to you by Chad McNeese's Ultimate Hardware Spreadsheet. So right at the top is a link if you want to go check it out. So he didn't give us any money, but I think the work that he puts in it is worth calling it sponsorship. Haptic engine better than SimHub? That's the question. What's the answer, Brad?
So this is a forum post from Dennis Marinos. Says he's been working on he's built a program basically to rival SimHub. So one of the complaints with SimHub is the latency. It's about 140 milliseconds. That's a disconnect as far as the feedback, and that he's always felt. I use SimHub. I don't see it, but again, I'm probably just not that used to stuff. But so his intention is to is to do something better than that. This is a good read if you understand a lot of the when you start talking about milliseconds and all this audio stuff, and I honestly get completely lost. But there's some good people that chimed in here. Brian Sohn has chimed in. You know, he's been super helpful through the years on the forum, dealing with any sort of haptic and steering wheel stuff. But yeah, I mean, his intent is to get the latency to where it's better. Um, but the way he does it, I think it maybe with some sort of prediction or something. Again, I tried to read through this, and it's just I honestly, it's language and stuff I don't understand. I use SimHub for all my stuff. I plug my stuff in, it works. If there's latency, I'm sure there is. I'm just either too old, too slow to even realize it.
Look, for one, you got to pay SimHub their donation or whatever to at least get it to where it's as fast as it can run. Because if you're just running a free version, apparently there's an additional delay in that. So it's only what, $15 or something?
It's yeah, it's super cheap for a light. I mean, the he could make so much money off this, and he's not doing it. So it's that's well worth supporting. I mean, SimHub is fantastic. So much stuff goes through SimHub.
It does. To have one title run my display, my lights on my wheel, my ambient lighting, my butt kickers, all of that stuff is in one piece of software. Like you said, it's just priceless. Good luck to this guy. Look, he says beta testers wanted. So if you want to help this guy out, if you're into it, find him on the forums and let's try to get this developed. It'd be nice if we had some competition with SimHub and there was more than one choice.
Next up is an overlay for iRacing called Mechanic Guy. And it's basically a setup companion. It's by Tola Yilmaz. This is a forum post where he talks about it. And it's essentially an overlay that you can have up on the screen where you can click a few buttons telling it what your handling issues are on different corners, and it will give you setup notes or suggestions. Looks pretty nice, though. I think it's very road centric because it says underspeed and or understeer and oversteer are the options, and it doesn't discuss entry and exit. It says low speed and high speed. Well, no, I'm sorry. It does have entry, apex, exit, and snap, and then but it has low speed and mid to high speed corner as well, which is something you don't usually deal with in a stock car.
This looks great. How it's like looks like it's giving recommended changes: caster, spring rate, camber, tire pressure, and then which way to go and how much.
Yeah, I mean, I think the intent here too is to give you some sort of order of operation. You know, it's giving you the suggested order in which you should try to change things, which is actually pretty good because that's kind of one of the things you can kind of go down rabbit holes if you start doing stuff out of order. So, yeah, I mean, a little bit of talk here on the forum post about it. I don't see much feedback right now, but yeah, I think I had this one bookmarked to try to keep track of it and see what becomes of it, but. Yeah, be interested if any of our listeners have used it. They want to give us some feedback in Discord. That would be good. And if we'll see how it goes. I wish the guy luck. So it's pretty neat to see a lot of people doing stuff. You know, as opposed to years past, it was just a spreadsheet or a cheat sheet or a book, and you had to kind of figure it out yourself.
It's hardware review time. We have a review of the VRS DFP 20. And the thumbnail says best under 1,000. What do you think, Mike?
Yeah, this is our friend. We met at the Expo Official Fly Media, and he does this review of the VRS wheelbase, and he loves the value of it at $800 for 20 newton meters. Um, Notating, at that rate, at that amount of torque, that's a really good value. You put it up against a SemiCube 3 Pro, it's twice as much money. It's certainly not two times better. Industrial build, this is what turns me off on it is the big old cable connectors off the side of this thing. I'm like, that's a hard no for me, but
Especially with your luck when it comes to cables, right?
right. Final verdict. He recommends the DFP 220 as a top choice for anyone looking for a high quality wheelbase under 1,000. He highlights the exceptional community support, noting the founder of ERS is personally active in the Discord to help users with settings.
So as a side note, I saw in one of the, I think I saw on one of the Facebook groups, he's selling all his sim stuff, his entire rig and everything.
Osa? Is that his name? Osa?
Yep. OSA. Yep. Had everything up for sale, trying to sell it as one package deal. So I don't know what's going on there.
I know what's going on. He's gonna buy the next best thing. He's gonna get a driven dynamics or something. He's gonna get a Vero motion yeah, who knows? Something good. That's how he rolls. Yeah, look, this guy's got money. He's the guy who was flying to another city to buy a Facebook Marketplace rim.
So you're saying he's taking it to the next level?
We got a video here from OC Racing. Next Level Racing's new haptic seats are serious. So we talked about both of these in different times, but this is just a kind of a comparison video that OC put up. One thing he says that the big catch is pricing. So they are expensive. This is looking at the ESR3 and the ES1. So the ESR3 is the reclining open style seat, and then the ES1 is the fixed bucket seat. So the ESR1, the reclining one, is $500, and the ESL1 is $650. From design and build quality, the reclining seat it has double latches to minimize flex. It's got breathable fabric, keep the driver cool. The bucket seat, the ES1 is more aggressive against a single piece hard plastic bucket seat with molded padding and what you would typically get. Controls, both seats feature integrated on all buttons. That I think we showed that on one of the videos we did a week or two ago. As far as these are the ones that have the haptics built into the seats themselves, so into the cushions. You've got the haptics. So again, we talked about this. The response time. Noted, almost zero delay. I think he said the best effect is the gear shift was the standout, just because, I'm sure it's probably just a quick, thunk, as far as when you're shifting. Ease of use versus traditional solutions, the advantage, unlike a butt kicker setup, these seats are plug and play, they only require a small power supply, single USB. The trade-off, those, while more convenient, they do lack the raw punch and power of a dedicated standalone base shaker, something like a butt kicker, or if you've got pucks attached to your rig. There are some limitations console-wise. Consoles, the seats rely on audio-based vibrations rather than your telemetry base that you can get on the PC. So, final verdict, for a high-end enthusiast, if someone who's looking for this, something that's prioritized, it's clean, it's integrated. It says they offer 85% of the butt kick experience with about 10% of the effort. So for me, this is a hard no. I don't want to feel stuff in my seat per se. I'd rather feel my haptics on my rig. To me, that gives a much better sensation of what's going on while I'm driving. And then just the cost wise, one, I'm not doing a reclining seat because of the flex. And it's $650 for a bucket seat with some haptics built into it. No, thank you.
Well, my bucket seat was that expensive without the haptics, but I don't think the bucket seat has the middle slot, the under torso slot, so you can't do a 5-point harness on it if you want to go that route as well. 6-point.
5, I'm sorry.
What program do they run it off of?
I believe it. I think they have their own software, if I remember correctly.
I'm just on their site trying to find stuff.
So that would be another negative, I think, if you had to have specific software just for this product. I already have too many things running. Look, I like the idea, but I don't know if it's a good implementation of it. First of all, the reclining. No, we don't want reclining seats. Those fail after time. They have flex no matter how they're designed. So that's a hard no. The other one is just too much like a bucket, and like David said, is it set up for the right belts? And I like the idea of having a proper race seat, not a sim seat, but a race seat, kind of like I have from NRG. Bolt that butt kicker right on the bottom of it, like literally bolt it to it under the seat. And you can't believe how effective that is. It's super effective.
Yeah, I mean, I have a Dayton, puck that's actually, it is bolted to the seat. I drove through the seat to attach it, so it's you don't get any better than that.
So I haven't talked about this in a long time, but I remember when I used to race in the office chair, if anytime we did long races, just how sore my tailbone would get. A proper bucket seat that spreads all the pressure, especially if you have it your feet at the right angle. You really want to get in the GT position with the pedals where they're kind of even with your hips. That position, I can basically sit in the rig for an entire endurance race, even watching the other teammates, which is a little bit less stress. You can move around and get a little bit more comfortable, and never feel any pressure point fatigue from having a properly shaped bucket seat at the right angle.
Yeah, well, the other thing too is a lot of people they don't take into account the angle of the seat, because what the angle of the seat helps with is support of your thighs, and that's where most of your pressure comes in. If you don't have that angled right to where you have support under your thighs, that's when it becomes painful because you're sitting right on your tailbone. Get the angle right. And again, literally, if you have that bucket seat just too upright, lay it back a little bit, and you'll be surprised how much better your legs feel when you've got that support on your thighs.
Yeah,
So
like I said, get your ankles even with your hips, pretty much. Not only does it put pressure on your thighs, but it puts some pressure in your middle and upper back. It just spreads everything out instead of it being focused right on your butt.
so I'm realizing as you guys talk how important. Okay, I have a 4-inch cushion, and I'm using all 4 inches of that to maximize all these things you just said. But if I have to cut out 2 inches of that 4 inches so they can put a little, puck in there, or vibrator or whatever they're putting in there, am I losing some of that ergonomics, that cushion that I need to have a proper seating position? I think there might be a compromise there. There must be.
I would think so. I mean, again, if you're going to put something, you've got the cushion, the, you know, the haptics is going somewhere. So if it's in the cushion, at some point you got to feel it. I mean, I don't know.
No,
It's
no
just,
matter how soft the seat is, if you don't have it right at the right angle, all the pressure is still going to go into more narrow spots. So it's more about the angle, I think, than the cushion amount. But let's get focused on the next topic. Tell us about the Focus Sim racing rig, Mike.
Yeah, Focus Sim Racing. I just bought two of those Moza M Booster mounting bracket panels, or whatever you want to call them, adapters, I guess you'd call them. $60 each. They weren't too cheap, but guess what? I their website was great. It was only letting me order one. I emailed him real quick and said, "Hey, I need to order two of these." He adjusted the website within 5 minutes. I was able to order what my order and get those, and the product was great. Super thin but strong metal. It fit like a charm. Really happy with my purchase from Focus Sim Racing. But we want to talk about what else they do besides those brackets, and they have a really nice 80/20 style rig here. It's a little expensive, I guess, but the quality is high, I would say.
yeah, it's just a 120 millimeter rig. I mean, 700, it's not bad. Um, but yeah, so it's a good option if you're looking for a 120. I mean, I have a 160. I'm just one. I'm a bigger guy, and I would rather have a 160. But if you're looking for a 120, I don't think it's a bad option. $700, before you start adding on to all your other stuff, that's somewhat comparable with a track racer. We're going to look at another one here in a second, and you'll see how much less expensive this one is, and I think just probably build quality just as good as the other one we're going to look at. I think it's close to double the cost.
Yeah, look at how the uprights attach, which is interesting. The bolt goes straight through it, which is kind of different than a lot of other ones that use plates and different things or corner brackets. Uh, you look, I think our John Curley, our teammate, was looking to buy a SimLab Ultimate, but couldn't find one, and so people were recommending alternatives, and I think this is one of the alternatives.
Well, I don't know what to think about the next one because when you call anything comparable to Apple, that sends a red flag up to me because I despise Apple products. But what do you think it's called the Apple of sim racing, Brad?
So this is the Spec 282. We talked about them a couple weeks ago. And I think this is so we didn't get to this video when we were going through it, but so this is from the Sim Nest. Provides an in-depth review of it. He describes it as the Apple of sim racing due to its exceptional build quality, thoughtful design, and integrated ecosystem. So pricing and customization, expensive right off the bat. So this is 120 millimeter built rig. There are custom colors available. Cost just for the rig alone is $1,300. So, like I said, double, basically, almost double what the other one we looked at. But again, there are some nice things on here. The innovative design features. They use custom extrusions, a little bit wider openings, and they're specifically designed to have integrated cable. So you got areas where you can run cable. I like that. They use a hook and tilt system. This allows the users to fully assemble the wheelbase, pedals, or seat on separate modules and then simply hook them into the mainframe for fine, easy tuning.
I love that feature. Look, I think that's the game changer on this one. That's what makes this rig better than other rigs, Brad.
I get it. It doesn't make it $800 better than
Well,
other
okay, but
rigs.
it's
Okay.
really nice. I love that fact that
Yeah,
you can mount your wheelbase out on your table or out in on the floor, and then you carry it over to the rig and just mount it real quick. You don't need two people to do it.
okay. But how many times do you mount your wheelbase?
Yeah, good point. And I love the little hash marks on the metal where you can see, where you're lining up everything without having to bring out the tape measure. I mean, this little stuff like that, they thought through everything.
I don't disagree. They've thought they've made it somewhat idiot proof. I get it, but you're paying for that. You know, you're paying with that. The other one we looked at, $700. This one's $1,300. So, and again, this is only 120 millimeter chassis, not a 160. 160 is about the biggest that you can get. So this is smaller than it's 120 millimeter, but is
Where
most
that I'm sorry, where that specifically refers to is the base rails, right? Because
yeah,
and even the uprights are narrow. They're only 80 millimeter, whereas like my upright is 120 and my base is 160.
correct. Yes. Yes. So structural integrity, performance, motion compatible, no flex, which 120 millimeters shouldn't flex. Stability, CNC machine plates, high grade aluminum provides full structural integrity. Um, the monitor stand, they do have an integrated single, rock solid and stuff. Again, final verdict, the Spec 282 is the new gold standard for high-end sim rigs. Again, like Mike, like you said, there's things that you're paying to have some of those niceties. For me, that ain't worth it because again, for the most part, once I've gotten this rig's been put together for 2 years. I think I've adjusted my wheelbase, my center unit. I think I've adjusted that probably once since I built it. Once you typically get them put together, you don't make any changes like that.
Yeah, that's a good point. It is super nice, and I love the color selection. And I was telling, John, if price isn't an object, I mean, yeah, I'd be looking at this.
Yeah, with the color, you know how many scratches I've got because I take stuff and I move it and I put it back on. That's the one thing with black. Sharpie and the scratch has gone away. I to have. The colors is fantastic, but gosh, a scratch on that, which is you might as well just, it's like buying a new car. You might as well, once you pull in the driveway, grab the hammer and go out there and just hit it once so you feel better.
Now you mentioned that. What about a silver Sharpie? How would that look on mine?
Yeah, maybe. I don't know.
Or
You
it may
try it.
just it may just be dirt. It needs to be cleaned off. All right, Sparko Prime Evo. It's a shoe, and it's Velcro. It's nice looking. It's probably expensive. My Skechers get the job done. But if you want them, here they are.
David, your Skechers, how do the soles hold up to the Sim Coach pedals?
There are coats of sole on my pedals. They're black now instead of aluminum.
I have the same with my
silver.
I have the same with my Raisin Boot, and I have a flat part on my shoe.
In fact, I bought a new pair of Skechers and I keep my old pair and I race in those just because the sole is worn out, so that I don't wear the sole out on my daily Skechers now. So I race in an old worn out pair.
So the Prime Evo shoes are 459 euros for the white version, and they have a nice bright red version for on sale 364 euros.
If you can afford the $1,300 rig that we just talked about, you can afford the shoes.
Maybe, but that's 1,300 is only really about 2x. That's about 3 to 4 times the price of a decent pair of shoes.
Yeah, I mean, I use carding shoes that I think I probably paid $60 on Amazon for, and they've been perfect, absolutely fantastic.
It's definitely a luxury item.
I don't anticipate my feet bursting into flames or anything, while I'm racing in my rig. I don't think I need to have fireproof shoes and everything else.
I'm still in socks, so
Yeah, but you got seatbelts on, so you're safe and secure.
that's right.
But you could probably get shoes no, I don't know how strong that Moza pedal is compared to the SimuCube, but I know on the hydraulic brakes, I can't do socks. It's just they're too hard. It would be really rough on the feet.
I can't do socks on my Husenfeld Ultimates. No way.
All right, the next item, Brad, is name changes all around.
Yep. So last week we talked about that Team Redline had moved from Team Redline to Verstappen Sim Racing, and to go along with that, Asher Racing has released a new wheel, the Verstappen Sim Racing version. So new name, same passion. Welcome to the grid. So I don't know if you could actually buy this. They are, Asher works in collaboration with Verstappen Sim Racing. So my guess is it's probably a custom wheel for them, but maybe you can buy it, maybe you can't. I'm not sure. But
Damn
looks
it.
like they're just.
I wanted to get this for William.
There you go.
I don't like the lion head logo. Again, I'll tell Max we need a better logo.
Why would you not like the lion head logo?
I don't know. It just doesn't do it for me.
He's fierce.
Look,
Mike's just more of a dog person.
yeah, I like the Asher wheels. This is I think the same one that you can get with the McLaren branding. I love Asher. I don't want to have McLaren on my wheel. I just leave it as Asher. Give us an option where you don't have to have McLaren or stuff like that on there.
All right, Lawrence did a video that has me knowing exactly what I would go for if I ever went for active pedals, because he can show some real performance advantages of it with these force curves. What he basically showed you can do is you can set the wheels up to feel like real pedals, and you can even create peaks and valleys and how resistant the curve is, so that you can naturally feel where certain braking points are in the braking and or the clutch and the throttle. So this looks pretty cool. Can you do this type of thing on yours, Mike?
Oh yeah, I mean the Moza active pedals are very similar to the SimiCube active pedals, and what Lawrence is going through here. Everything transfers over as far as you can make these curves and adjust to feel like when the turbo kicks in. Like if your turbo kicks in at 75% throttle, you can make the curve change right there so you can feel it. Those that's what he's talking about.
You can make it so that you actually sort of you can feel where the clutch bite point is if you know
Right.
roughly where it was. My clutch, I'm pretty good at being consistent. I only use the pedal clutch in the cup car, but I try to put it when we're launching out of the pit lane. I try to put it at about half to 60% and about half throttle to get a smooth exit out of the pits. And so what you can do is with the resistance, you can make it even easier to find that percentage.
Look, this is a big reason why I bought into active pedals is to be able to not just customize it, but to run what other people's have come up with and what customizations they have. Now, the way I had these mounted before, which I really had to jerry rig these, I they weren't leaning back enough, and I really had to lay the pedal face back quite a bit. So when I go and import somebody else's pedal settings, the they had their starting angle at a much different angle than mine, and so it didn't translate well. And so what part of me buying the from Focus Sim Racing those mounting brackets was to be able to get a different angle on these, so I would be able to import people's settings and use them. And so when I get this thing up and running, that's definitely something I intend to do. Is I'm going to get on the Discord and start copying down people's throttles and stuff and their brakes and trying them in different cars and see if I can get some of this stuff that Lawrence is talking about, where 30% the brake, you hit a little resistance wall, and then maybe 80%, right before wheels lock up, it gets harder to push or something like that.
So if I did have active pedals, I would try to find something that I think was consistent between cars. I wouldn't be changing it from car to car unless it was, and except maybe I might have something drastically different for all stock cars versus all sports cars, because even on my sim coaches I run a different curve for a sports car versus stock car versus dirt car. Uh, So um, I would go for consistency in each of the different disciplines, I guess, instead of trying to have a different profile for every single car in the service.
I had three. I had the NASCAR profile, I had a sports car profile, and a GT3 profile, basically.
Um, so you have two sports car profiles.
Well, there was a sports car like a MX-5, which is a very soft kind of brake, and then a GT3 is a much stiffer brake, and so that's what the two differences are.
A road car.
Like a Toyota GR86 or something, or a BMW M2, right?
So I guess those are still sports cars, but they're definitely the lower end.
That's what I'm referring to when I say sports car, a lower end, softer pedal. And then I have the GT3 pedal, a lot stiffer, and I'll use those in hypercars and stuff like that.
We have a button box, Mike.
Yeah, Sim Ruito shows off their button box, puts every command at your fingertips, exactly where it should be at simruito.com. Uh, Look, it's got the joystick, it's got the engine start, uh, up and down flip switches, knobs, push buttons. Looks like it's pre-labeled, which is kind of nice.
Yeah, it's not bad. It's not. I mean, it's neat. It's yeah, yeah. No, nothing wrong with it.
How much was it?
Let's see here real quick. I think they're out of South America, I believe. Oh, come on, load up here.
Is it
Hundred
plasticky?
one
Kind of
one
looks plasticky. I don't know.
$130. But 75 by 75 Vesa whole mount on the back is fine. Um, Metal levers, pedal box, buttons. Doesn't say what it doesn't say what it's built out of.
Not too bad for that price. I don't
No.
know.
So you're gonna have a tough time spending my money when it's a TikTok because I don't usually uh, watch these, but Beast XR VR. I really don't have any information about it. They look like more glasses sized rather than the full headset, kind of like the big screen.
Yeah, SimSport Gadget put up a video on TikTok saying, "Look, these are going to be game changer for sim racers." And they're like regular glasses, but VR is like built into it. So
I think he's just trying to sell it because it's so lightweight, like the big screen VR is. But there's trade offs in some of those situations. Particularly if I'm in VR, I actually don't want light bleeding in from everywhere else because that's kind of immersion breaking.
but this wouldn't be hot. That's what I was thinking is I
I
don't
have
have this thing
I have
sweating.
it's not hot. It's if you can control the climate, it's not that hot. And I mean, most of your, I mean, the only part of my face that's covered is just my forward eyes. The back of my head and everything is wide open, so it's just not that hot. But and I keep the room cool enough anyway that it's not a concern. I have a fan blowing, and so I don't run into the heat issue. So I'm not going to sacrifice quality just to have a smaller headset.
So the Virtue Beast has 174 degrees, 174 by 58 degree FOV, 4K Lite 1200p. So I don't know. I don't know anything about VR, so I don't know if that's it's a built-in microphone, built-in 3DOF. No, it's not selling you. Not selling you on it, Dave.
Nope, I'm keeping my money, bro. The Pimax Crystal Light is really nice. The big screen two is right neck and neck with it in quality. And that if you want the lightweight one, that one is really nice. It has a couple of drawbacks in that you have to have for that one to really fit right. You have to have your face basically molded so that they can create a mold to put on the big screen to make it fit into your eyes exactly right. Uh, but it's still pretty high quality. And Climax has come out with a couple of new ones, including a more lightweight one themselves. So this he's doing a good job of hyping it up, sort of. But if you know what else is out there, it's not really that much of a game changer.
I'll take the next one. So this is spelling error. Got to catch that. I'll fix it. This is a Mercedes AMG GT3 GT4 replica wheel. So this is by AlexRacing.com. This guy came up in my Facebook feed and decided to check it out. So this guy builds custom sim racing AMG GT3 GT4 wheels. So these are really nice looking. 4mm carbon front plate. It's got CNC buttoned. The grips are all homemade. These look really nice, and they come in around $400 for a handmade wheel. Is really a decent price point. They look fantastic. So if you're a Mercedes fan and
whose car is missing that logo off the front of it now? Because I'm pretty sure he doesn't have a license to use that.
I don't know, but yeah, but it's a nice looking wheel. I mean, it's if you think about what's in the, the real one in the Mercedes AMG race car, is solid metal. It's not carbon fiber. It's a piece of metal. It's very similar to this. Of course, it doesn't have to have the depth of it because it doesn't have to hold. There's not a ton of electronics in there like we have in ours, but. Yeah, if you're a Mercedes fanboy, I think this is a pretty neat. Each one's hand built when you order. It takes about 2 weeks to get it, and but it's neat. It's nice job on these.
It looks like a real race car wheel, not a sim racing wheel. Well done.
All right, Mike, climb into the next topic.
How about I take the next one?
Okay, Greg, you're the F1 guy anyway, so except I think Mike's trying to compete with you for F1 fandom now.
Yeah, well, that's just an April Fool's joke. He just likes to talk about it, right, Mike? You like the hybrid systems.
I just want Max to leave.
You want him in NASCAR.
No, to a lot of other people, Mike, but for different reasons.
So on F1 Authentics Instagram, they're showing off. Obviously, it looks like it's a front 3/4 of a car of the Red Bull's Cash App car from 2026 here. I guess it's the livery that they used in the Japanese Grand Prix, and they're showing it with the screen out in front of it. It kind of lost me at when they're inside the car and you're using the top of the car view on the crash pillar. So, but other than that, it looks pretty cool. I just don't know. Was this something that they, is it just a rendering?
Oh no, you can buy one. If you scroll down a little bit, you'll see what the price is.
I don't even want to know.
It's got to be
120 grand. Holy cow.
Yeah.
How many you want, Greg? How many can I send? I send you a tractor trailer full?
Yeah. Can you just send me the money that they cost?
This is actually the paint job from the 2026 Japanese Grand Prix that just happened.
How are you going to order this online? You actually going to click a button to add a $120,000 item to a cart?
Hey!
Oh, they use PayPal. It says
you can make 3 easy payments.
Hold on, what's PayPal gonna get on that? Top of that, don't they make a percentage off of it? Oh,
Apple Pay for me.
David, you okay?
Does anybody have a credit card that's maxed out enough
I'm fine. That just looks ridiculous that you could add $120,000 to a cart.
We're gonna use Mike's black Visa.
The math on the PayPal payment is way off too. You're not going to get that paid off in 3 payments of $3,000. That's like government math right there.
Isn't it 3 lifetimes? It's probably 3 lifetime payments.
It's going to be $3,000 for the rest of your life.
But hey, look, once you click the button, it's available and ready for dispatch in 14 weeks.
Honey, I saved $20,000. I only had to spend $100,000 to do it.
But I upgraded to the bonus speakers so that it's now $20,000 more.
So you're just like the race team. Every time NASCAR does something to save them money, they just spend it somewhere else.
Mike, tell us about this Moza wheel that you were talking up quite a bit on Discord last week.
Yeah, we got a review finally of Will Ford Boosted Media on the $400 Lamborghini wheel. Look, I mean, I think Will pointed out what I've missed here. You don't want Moza Racing on your Lamborghini wheel. I mean, he points out the obvious that, look, you're going to pay for this branding. You want it to look like a Lamborghini. Don't put that Moza logo on there. And obviously it bothers Will, and it does bug me a little bit. He also points out, kind of the plastic part in the middle, doesn't feel high end.
Could they not done
the whole wheel does just look cheap?
Could they not have done the Moza without painting the color in it and just kind of maybe just not had your eye drawn to it? Like kind of just indent it into the plastic?
Well, the Lamborghini wheel is like a sticker, so the Lamborghini emblem is like a sticker.
Which sucks because the other Lamborghini GT3 wheel they have is so much better.
Yeah, that one was over $1,000.
I know, but I'm just saying, like, it's a disappointment when they start like, I hate when they put, like, this is not far off of one of their transport truck rims, to be honest.
Well, that's what he compared it to, in the video. I mean, look, at the end of the day, I mean, he brings up points like Mike said. It's just the very plasticky construction, not a lot of tactile feedback in the buttons. and probably should have come in around $100 to $150 cheaper than where it did. So I mean,
You
I
can run it on a non-Moza base.
you can with a what's it's the JR cord. It's not a USB. RJ, yes. Which I'm trying. I'm watching the video and I'm trying to imagine myself hooking an RJ cord into the back of this to have to run into the Moza USB thing, and I'm like, what is that going to look like on the back? You know, how am I handling that with the wheel turning and everything like that? Most USB cables, if you've got your wheel, is a coiled cable that you can wrap around your steering. You know, you wrap around the column. I'm trying to envision an RJ, a phone cord basically coming out the back of the wheel, and how that's going to work.
You can coil phone cords too.
You could, but
Back the old days when they were on the walls, they had coils.
yeah,
I know
yes,
you're old enough to remember those.
I am. But the cord that you're going to get from Moza is not going to be a coiled phone cable.
Is that what is it? Have you seen that in the review?
Yeah, no, that's what he talks about.
Okay,
I mean,
it is flat.
well, I mean yeah, I mean that's the way any of these are. So any of your peripherals like SimMagic, if you want to think about the Fanatec, you know the old Fanatec's, you had the the RJ cord that went from the shifter would go to the back of because your shifter go into your base.
I think so.
Yeah, so that's what it's using. So imagine that cord coming out of the back of your wheel, and then having to go into a box for USB. You see how odd that is? Maybe it's just me.
We can put brakes on that one and handle the next topic, Mike.
Yeah, Lawrence DeSaswa does another video here on a handbrake called the Hands-On Performance EMC handbrake, perfect for a rally cross kind of situation where you need a handbrake, but it's a beauty. All machined kind of metal, bright blue. It's got a load cell module on it. Um, it's got a standard eBay handle available, but the premium WiseFab handle, which adds an additional 270 euros to the price, but offers that look that I like. So total cost can go from 320 to as high as 550 plus. Now, look, with the way that it shows in the video at 550 plus, that's too much for a handbrake for me. Too much money.
I would never use one, so I don't use any sort of discipline where I need a handbrake.
Well, I always thought I wanted one because I would run the rallycross sometimes. But then when I started learning that the fast people like Mitchell DeYoung, who ran rallycross, he never used a brake. He's fast without a brake.
I just use the shifter as when you pull back on the sequential, you can use it as a handbrake. So like I use my Fanatec shifter as a handbrake, and then I just use the paddles as the shifting.
Okay.
But are handbrakes really just on and off? Isn't there a different amount of pressure that you can apply?
Yeah, it's not perfect, but if you just want to use it as a handbrake, because even if with a button, it's going to be on off unless you buy an actual handbrake. It's just you're not going to get that dialed in feel without an actual authentic handbrake.
That's what I would do when I would run rally. I mapped a button on the wheel, basically, and so if I wanted the handbrake, I just push that button. It would just 100% on the brake.
Yeah, but if you're doing rally, you're doing like drifting. You want something like this where it's a load cell, so it's measuring the force that you're using, not just simply an on off. I mean that would be like using an on off switch for brakes. You know, it wouldn't work.
So if I was running rally, I could get around this by using my two clutch pedals and just have one be clutch and one be the handbrake, because those are both analog paddles. All right, we've got more track racer news, Mike.
Well, we got a silhouette of a product here, and I honestly can't tell what the heck it is. I mean, what do you guys think?
It's a motorcycle. If you click the button, you hear a motorcycle screaming.
Oh,
I'm
I see.
I'm a little leery about this because this came out Wednesday morning, um, but I can't seem to find whether or not Track Racer. It wasn't in the other stuff, so I don't know if this is a real thing. We did see somebody, I guess, what the Sim Racing Expo in Germany had a somebody had um, a motorcycle, you know, rig or something there. So that's what this is alluding to. But I don't know.
Is this like Track Racer and Moza trying to get to the market at the same time?
Well, maybe I don't know, but I just I don't know. I don't. Are there a bunch of MotoGP sims out there that I've never heard of?
There is
Yeah, I was
Moto
going to ask.
there is MotoGP Sims. There's also another sim called Ride that has like 5 different versions of it that probably would take advantage of something like this.
All right, I was just watching the next Instagram. Is that an AI ad? That doesn't even look like a real person speaking.
Yeah, I would. The girl's definitely got to be an AI.
That's almost a deal breaker for me alone. If you can't even hire an actress or actor to advertise your stuff.
And what are they advertising? Some nice looking pedals. I think these are out of Poland, actually. And they're called what are they called? A-Win Racing. A-Win Racing.
Did you say load cell or hydraulic?
I didn't say. I think they're load cell based on
Yeah,
how they look.
yeah, they're just load cell. They're the AI says they're game changing, but I mean what does that mean? Is
They're
yeah, about the
designed for
only thing.
they say have a hydraulic feel, load cell precision, 3-stage operation.
You can't get over the pink haired AI girl. I was the same way. First time I watched, I was like, "That's not real."
That's I was just listening to a podcast the other day that was talking about that's the number one thing that AI can't get right yet is speech on a face. It just can't quite make it look as good as a real person yet.
Oh, sorry, her eyes is what threw me off. It's her eyes.
Yeah, it just doesn't look human. It just can't fake it well enough yet. So even if you're looking in the mirror, it probably would still look wrong. This next one, are you sure this next one's not an April Fool's post? Because they make it out like
It came
they
out before
spent,
April Fools.
yeah, but they make it out like they had to spend a lot of time researching it, but it's just a damn real mirror that you attach to your monitor.
Look, when I was married, I had one of these. I wanted to see when she walked in the room.
So did everybody else.
So, but this is from Trek Sim Racing. They have a mirror, a nice big one, 230 by 130 millimeter. Includes a 5 millimeter thick steel bracket, so you can mount it to your rig, and it's got a long little mount to it. And the idea is you can get it up above your monitor or over to the side or wherever you want to put it.
But the question is, how good are their engineers if it take them years to develop this?
So they do. Someone in the chat or in the messages says this is probably an April Fool's joke, but they said no, it's not. It's an actual product. So there you go.
But the first paragraph is they're clearly joking because it says after years of development. So that's just silly.
All right, let's talk results. Friday Open, NIS Martinsville, Tony Rochette, P8. Finally broke a streak of no top 10 since the end of September last year. Typical shit Martinsville, 29 cautions. Don't think we got more than 5 green flags in. Mostly stayed clean. David, P15.
I think I'm double checking. No, P11. Nope, that's week 3. Go to the next one and I'll come back to you.
Well, that's Brad, P2. Wow.
Yeah, P2, but I tried to throw this one away just like I did on Wednesday night. So started P2, spun the tires on the start, collected Justin and Greg both. What an absolute disaster that was. So go
Yeah.
ahead. Go ahead, give me some grief.
Well, that's fine, but then Justin decided to take me 3 wide with another guy and didn't even realize I was in the race with him.
Oh, he knew you were in the race. He just didn't.
Sorry, yeah, he didn't realize that I was the car in front of him.
That he effectively wrecked out.
Yeah, pretty much. I don't want. It's not Justin's fault. It's 3 wide when the guy on the outside doesn't realize you're 3 wide and comes across your nose. And you're the center guy. And then you just get run over by the rest of the field coming behind you.
So I came in 33rd. It was just another one of those crap shows, and I don't remember what happened, when, where, but it was just get dumped, get turned here and there and everywhere, and I ended up with like 7 minutes of damage pretty early in the race and decided not to finish it.
So wait, Brad, back to you. You wrecked the teammates, but how'd you finish P2?
Yeah, so I didn't get any damage per se. I think I had a little bit, but it wasn't much. Went all the way to the back and then just kind of started to work my way back up towards the front. We got this kind of cycle there at the end. I got back to the top 5 and then I got up to 3rd and, we did get those 2 or 3 lap runs and get a yellow. And starting 3rd was fine because I would get to 2nd, and then we get the yellow, and then I start 2nd, and I fall back to 3rd, and it was back and forth, and I kind of got lucky and came out on the good side of that back and forth swing, which allowed me to grab the P2. But yeah, just like I said, I screwed up Wednesday night and turned just absolute crap night. And then, qualified P2 in here. And I'm like, all right, here's my time for redemption. And damn it, if I didn't spin the freaking tires and wreck both teammates. So, again, I apologize, Justin and Greg. Again, I'm sorry for it. Was just an absolute mess, man. It was like, Greg was laughing. He's like, oh my gosh, can't believe that just happened.
It's because we talked about it in the actual pacing laps. That was what was funny. It's just a good start to that whole weekend for me, I guess.
All right, Sunday Open. David caught up in a mess.
Yep, it's just I was running top 10 most of the time, and there was trouble up in front of us, and I went low to avoid it, and one of the cars came back down and pinned me into the inside wall and uh, caused a lot of wheel damage. I got some of it fixed, but it was basically only able to run on the tail end of the lead lap for the rest of the race. That was towards the end of the race. So 4 races in a row, fast cars and chances for a top 5, and every one of them just something would happen that I once again couldn't avoid. That's just been the way this year's been, other than a brief reprieve at Darlington.
And then how about this? C Open, Talladega, Tony Rochette gets the win. Winner, winner, chicken dinner. He says, wow, I've ever seen a man cry on a Saturday morning. That was me. Huge shout out to Premier Racing Setups for a great truck set. And shout out to Tyler Williamson for letting me know trucks were at Dega. Started 3rd and wasn't comfortable with the truck for about half the race. Survived the chaos. Green white checker restarted 8th, pushed the outside lane, then shot the middle in the right spot, got that win. This is my first win in anything since August of 2022. Been a long time. It feels great. Look, long time coming. Tony, so proud of you getting this win. Now stack them up, buddy. Go get some more. A Open, Brad, P3 and 9.
Yeah, I run 2 of these this week. Ran Monday night and then ran last night with Justin. So P3 Monday night. We were just here a few weeks ago with NIS, with tracks a lot hotter this week, which is actually a good thing because the cars not all over top each other. Racing's been good. Quite a few long runs. But first race, first time we hit pit stops, and I just completely just drove right past my pit stall. It's just like, where's my pit stall? Oh my gosh. So ended up coming back around and had to pit. That put me all the way to the tail. So drove the life out of the tires to get back to the front. I ended up getting lucky with the yellow kind of at the right time for tires, and then was able to hold on to a P3. Second race was just a mess on errors on my part. Self spun in turn two, and then so self spun, tried to hang onto the car, slid down and hit the inside wall, but I hit it with the left rear, and as that damage was just it made the car just brutally loose. And I was trying to hang on to it and trying to not go a lap down. It eventually ended up spinning in turn four. And then that forced me down the pits. So I went ahead and got a pit stop done, lost 3 laps. This all during a green flag run. So I got back out, was able to get 1 lap back just because I was quicker than the leaders. And then we ended up with the yellow. So took away by to get the second lap back. And, at that point was the first car a lap down. So I was like, just need a yellow. Finally did get that, got the lucky dog. And then kind of worked my way back up to the front, and then ended up able to hang on to a top 10 finish. So Justin finished second. Shout out to him. It was fun, but it was just that Vegas is weird. I mean, it's like you can kind of roll through turns one and two, and all of a sudden coming out of two, you just flat lose the car for no reason. I don't know if it's the bumps or what, but yeah. So hot track's definitely more fun than what we had a few weeks ago at NIS.
All right, moving on to the special event, Sebring 12 hours. David, Kyle, Tom, Greg, DNF.
Yeah, the track condition change was not great, and then I was running, uh, making a pass after turn one, going into the 2, 3, 4 uh, construct, and the car that I was passing, the GT3, he looked like he made a funny move, like he was going to block me, and that caused me to delay braking just enough that I missed the corner and put it in the wall for 8 minutes of damage. And we were really behind the 8 ball from that point, and then had more trouble later on, enough to the point where it was just no more fun to run it.
Yeah, it was. Well, we can. It's not a DNF. It's a Greg did not want to continue. We can chalk it to that.
Yeah, but I think if we had all had time to talk, we probably would have agreed at that point. We
That's okay. I took being the asshole for the day. I just didn't want to spend the rest of my Saturday. I wanted to go hang with my kids when we were that far back.
So look, you guys are talking about a discussion that was had that day about should we continue or not continue, and that's something that happens in endurance racing with team events. It's like, do we want to fix the car and just finish the race, or do we want to not? Some people want to, some people don't. So how did you guys work that out?
uh, in our history, sometimes we have, sometimes we haven't. There was one of the races last year. We were running fifth, right, and uh, there were only 5 cars still running, right, and we decided we might catch one car. Everybody else was like 12 laps ahead of us. And we were like, I think we're okay with just taking the fifth home, because we knew we couldn't get caught from behind. So it just kind of depends, because it is a huge time investment, and racing forever to jump from 14th to 12th is not super exciting over a 24-hour period.
All right, good call. And then Brad, Will and Jacob, P5.
Yeah. So we started mid pack. Jacob qualified the car. Um, so on the start, coming through Sunset, just an absolute mess. He basically had to stop to avoid getting, caught up in an accident. I think we dropped probably 5 or 6 spots back. So I think we fell to like 20 something, maybe 22nd or so. So Jacob gets a few laps in. He's having to deal with a lot of the slower cars. Coming through Sunset, He'd self spin, just really odd. I mean, he came up on the back of a car, and I don't know if he had to. He really doesn't know what happens. I don't know if he jumped out of the throttle real quick and the car just got upset, but I mean, just completely snapped sideways. No warning. He kept it out of the wall, thank goodness, but that put us to dead last. So, this is very early on. This is probably within the first, 25 minutes of the race. So from that point on, it was just about getting positions back. We ran really hard, and what we've come to understand is that the way that these races get won is with fuel saving. So, in order for us to try to gain positions, we were just full press, turning as quick as laps as we could. So, we worked our way ourselves back up to the top 10. And at that point, we realized that we were on a very off-cycle pit strategy. So we gained positions, over the last few hours, depending on how people were pitting. We got as high as P2 during that cycle. Um, we really never had any other issues at all. No other spins. We kept the car clean. Everybody did a really good job. It was fun, but we ended up having to make an additional stop versus the top 3 cars. So in the Merc, we could stretch it to 29 if Will did that a couple times, but running quick, we were running 27s. The winner, did, I think they did 12 stops. No, yeah, 12 stops. We did 13. So the last cycle, we ended up falling back to 5th. But we all agreed that, the only way to save this until we get safety cars or something to kind of break up the monotony of the race, the only way to do this is to fuel save. So, and you got to be committed to that from the very beginning. And if you get behind, you can't really do it because you lose so much time, lap time doing it. But yeah, so next one's going to be, I think we said it's probably Watkins. No, 24 hours. Spa, 24 hours is the next one. So I think we're going to head into that one to spend quite a bit of time trying to learn the fuel save game, because you basically just have to you have to do enough to where you can drop a stop in order to win these. That's the only option you got.
Well, I can tell you, Team Tifosi has had some good runs this year in the special events. Lots of top fives, so good run. Let's get into final thoughts. Greg Hectus.
Just kind of just gonna enjoy the off week here without nothing in an AS. I don't know if I'm gonna run anything this weekend. I got a busy weekend ahead, so yeah, I don't. I think we'll just continue next week on the NIS. I guess we're Bristol and see what we
It's
do
not
from
full
there.
length, is it?
Do what?
Oh,
No, it's
full
not.
length?
No, it's 250, isn't it?
Good. Okay. Brad Wren, final thought.
Uh, Kind of like Greg. I mean, it's been nice to not really have to worry about much this week. Run a couple Vegases just because I like Vegas and it's fun. Yeah, just kind of take it easy. It's been nice to get a break from NIS. I think we only get we have one more off week for the season, and that's it. So enjoy those while you can. Um, haven't really done anything rig wise or anything. So yeah, just kind of enjoying the little bit of downtime and holiday weekend. So looking forward to that. Got kid, son's coming in with the grandkids. So this will be the first time the grandkids have been to our house since we moved. So we're excited, looking forward to that. It's gonna be a fun weekend.
All right. David Hall, final thought.
Yeah, it was a good week to have the off week. I haven't touched anything. I'm not doing IMSA because I don't want to learn. Is it Hockenheim? I think it's at this week.
Yeah, and it's a good track too. I like that track.
At this point, been focused on other things. And next week, I'm going to basically only get to run Wednesday because I'll be traveling for a symphony concert. Be up, miss the show and everything because it's going to take up the whole weekend starting on Thursday, which stinks because Bristol's usually a place I run better at. But it's not like the season can really get that much worse.
All right. My final thought is did some cleaning on the rig and realized I showed you guys a video last night. how dirty my triples are. I got dirty triples, guys. Title idea, dirty triples. Look, I got out the Windex and a paper towel, and I was wiping stuff down. And look, I never touched the triples since I put them up, and yeah, they have a little bit of dust on them. I can kind of see that, but I didn't realize there was a film of filth on them. And when I got that wet paper towel and wiped it, you could totally see, holy cow, this thing has a whole layer of dirt on it. And so I took the time to clean those, didn't even realize how dirty they were. I also bought and received and mounted a new USB hub from Sabent, a 10 port USB hub with an extension cable. So I home runned it to the computer. Didn't link them. I wanted to link, daisy chain them, but everyone told me no.
Oh, you
So,
cannot do that. You can't do
right.
that.
So we home runned it, and not a problem. We got the mounts from SimSport Gadget. Look, I'm keeping this guy in business. I mean, I'm buying stuff from him all the time. But great product, that he put out, as well as the Sabent hub. Kind of rewired some of the rig and put some of the stuff over on the new hub, and so basically I have enough ports now to run a clutch. Before I bought that, I didn't have enough ports basically, so that's the idea. As far as the power supply from Moza, it's supposed to. It's in Phoenix. U.S. Postal Service has it. I presume I'll get it tomorrow.
Oh,
So
you have a box coming from Moza. You have no idea if there's an actual power supply in that or not.
they haven't told me nothing. No.
Maybe it's sailboat fuel.
Look, it was May 10th, I think, and now it's April 2nd. So it's been almost a month, and
March 10th.
yeah, March, right. And so,
What
man, it's been a long time.
What are you going to do if that's just a box that has a shipping label for you to send it back? What are you going to do?
Buy a SimuCube.
Man, I don't know what I'm going to do. I'm going to bust that power supply open and look for a burnt fuse. What I'm going to do. And with that, we'll see you on the track, baby. Later. Okay, title